The Baltic Sea is a cold, dark expanse, hiding countless secrets beneath its waves. Among its mysteries is the fate of the Soviet submarine S-2, which vanished during a brutal winter. 50 men disappeared with it. No trace, no answers, just silence. It was 1940, the world at war, and the S-2 prowled the depths as a silent hunter. Its mission: disrupt enemy supply lines, strike from the shadows. But the sea is as deadly as any enemy, and the S-2's crew knew the risks. They sailed into the frozen unknown, never to return. Their families waited in vain, the submarine's fate sealed away by war and secrecy. For decades, the S-2 was just a name on a list, its story erased by the sea and by history, yet some secrets refused to stay buried. The S-2's story was not over. It waited in the darkness, its truth submerged. This is the tale of that lost submarine, of war, secrecy, and a discovery decades in the making. 50 men went to sea and never came home. Their end was sudden, violent, and silent. We'll explore the conflict that sent them on their final mission. We'll uncover the dangers of the Sea of Åland. And we'll reveal how, after nearly 60 years, divers finally found the S-2. The Baltic's silent tomb was opened and the echoes from the deep finally heard. This is their story. Lost, found, and remembered. The sea keeps its secrets, but sometimes it gives them back. The S-2's voice rises from the depths at last. The S-2's journey began in the winter of 1939, during the brutal Winter War. The Soviet Union invaded Finland, expecting a swift victory. Outnumbered, the Finns fought fiercely, defending their homeland against overwhelming odds. The conflict raged not just on land but across the frozen Baltic Sea. Control of the sea lanes was vital. Soviets aimed to choke off Finnish supplies while Finland fought to keep them open. Submarines like the S-2 became silent predators, hunting beneath the ice. Winter in the Baltic was merciless: thick ice, violent storms, and freezing temperatures. Submarine crews endured cramped, damp, and perilous conditions. Every dive was a gamble with death. Enemy ships, sonar, and the ever-present threat of mines. The S-2 was part of this hidden war, a relentless campaign beneath the waves. The Finns, though outnumbered, used their knowledge of the land and sea to inflict heavy losses. The Soviets pressed on with sheer numbers, determined to break Finnish resistance. The S-2 was just one vessel in a vast war machine, but its mission was critical. Its story is woven into the fabric of a conflict defined by ice, iron, and the defiance of a small nation. In these frozen waters, every mission was a test of courage and survival. The S-2's fate would become a symbol of the war's hidden tragedies. Beneath the ice, the true cost of conflict was measured in silence and loss. The Baltic was a battlefield and the S-2 sailed straight into its heart. The war beneath the waves was as fierce as any on land. The S-2, a Stalinets-class submarine, was built for the Baltic's tight, dangerous waters. Captain Ivan Sokolov and his 49 men were tasked with patrolling the Sea of Åland, a vital, treacherous shipping route. Their mission: strike at enemy supply lines. But first, survive the journey. The Sea of Åland was a maze of rocky islands, shallow waters, and hidden reefs. One wrong move could mean disaster. But the greatest threat was invisible Finnish minefields, especially the notorious Nautilus barrier. Mines waited silently, ready to destroy any intruder. The crew moved cautiously, relying on charts and sonar, every sound a potential warning of doom. The tension was constant, every scrape, every echo could mean death. The S-2 was a hunter, but it was also the hunted, threading through a deadly labyrinth. The Finns had turned the sea into a fortress, determined to keep Soviet submarines out. The S-2 pressed deeper, risking everything to breach the Nautilus minefield. Bravery and skill brought them this far, but the odds were stacked against them. The submarine ventured where few dared, into a region designed to destroy it. The crew's courage was undeniable, but the peril was greater than they knew. In these waters, even the boldest could vanish without a trace. The S-2 was about to meet its fate. January 2nd, 1940. The S-2 navigated near Märket Island, deep in the Finnish minefield. The weather was harsh, the sea treacherous, ice drifting across the channel. Whether surfaced or submerged, the submarine was in grave danger. Suddenly, a massive explosion shattered the silence. A mine had been triggered. A lighthouse keeper witnessed the blast, a towering plume of water and a deafening roar. The S-2 was struck by a hidden mine. The force tore through its hull. Water flooded in, the lights went out, and the submarine was lost in seconds. 50 men perished instantly. No distress call, no survivors. The sea quickly hid all evidence, returning to its cold calm. At base, the S-2 was listed as overdue, hope faded as days passed. The Soviet command declared the submarine lost, but no one knew how or where. For the families, there was only silence and uncertainty. The S-2 became another wartime casualty, its story ending in darkness. The submarine's final dive was swift, tragic, and shrouded in mystery. The Baltic claimed its secret, and the world moved on. The S-2's fate was sealed beneath the waves. After the S-2 vanished, silence and secrecy took hold. In the Soviet Union, military losses were hidden, especially embarrassing ones. The loss of a modern submarine was erased from public record. Families received only vague notices, no details, no closure. The Cold War made searching for the wreck impossible. The Baltic was a tense frontier. The S-2 lay undisturbed, its story buried by politics and fear. Admitting the loss didn't fit the myth of Soviet invincibility. The crew's sacrifice was forgotten, their memory kept alive only by loved ones. For nearly 60 years, the S-2 remained a ghost, its fate a mystery. Only after the Soviet collapse did old secrets begin to surface. Historians searched archives, piecing together fragments of the past. But the S-2's final resting place was still unknown, the only clue, a Finnish report of an explosion near Märket Island. The truth waited at the bottom of the sea, hidden by decades of silence. It would take a new generation to finally break that silence. For decades, the S-2 was a legend among divers and historians. In the 1990s, Swedish diver Bjorn Rosenloff and his team set out to find it. They pored over archives, studied reports, and mapped the likely area. The search was daunting, the Baltic guards its secrets well. In 1999, sonar revealed a large object in the minefield near Märket Island. Divers braved the cold depths and found the S-2 upright and remarkably intact. The mystery was solved after 59 years. The wreck showed massive damage to the bow-clear evidence of a mine explosion. Its location confirmed the S-2 had sailed straight into the Nautilus trap. The discovery brought closure to a decades-old tragedy. For the first time, families knew the truth. The wreck was declared a war grave, protected by law. No one is allowed to disturb it. It remains a memorial to the lost crew. The find was a powerful reminder the sea keeps history, but persistence can reveal it. The S-2's story, once silenced, was finally told. The Baltic had given up its dead, and the echoes from the deep were heard. The truth, long hidden, surfaced at last. The S-2's legacy endures beneath the waves. Today the S-2 rests in darkness, a silent memorial at the bottom of the Baltic. It is more than a wreck. It is a tomb for 50 sailors, a lesson in the hidden costs of war. The S-2 story reminds us that history is often shaped by secrecy and loss. For decades, politics buried the truth, but dedicated explorers brought it to light. The wreck is a fact, but the human experience remains locked in time. We can only imagine the fear and courage of those final moments. The S-2's legacy is a whisper from the deep, a call to remember the forgotten. Every conflict leaves scars, many hidden beneath the surface. By telling these stories, we honor the lost and ensure their sacrifice is not forgotten. The echoes from the deep remind us history's secrets matter. The S-2's voice, once silenced, now speaks to us all. In remembering, we give meaning to their sacrifice. The Baltic's silent tomb is no longer forgotten.